stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't. I'm Dave Michaels with this week's edition of Spot Crime, where we highlight crimes reported in the CSRA. We've had 70 assaults around the CSRA, 5 on Dewsbury Road on the 3000 block, the 3200 block, the 2600 block, the 2500 block, and the 2900 block. One on the 3500 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 200 block of East Telfair Street, the 800 block of Spruce Street, the 2600 block on Millage Road, one on Lakemont Drive, on the 2000 block of Brighton Circle, the 2400 block of Yates Drive, the 2000 block of Melrose Drive, the 1800 block of South Barton Drive, the 600 block of Crawford Avenue, the 2100 block of Beldiere Road, the 300 block of Walden Drive, the 900 block of Perry Avenue, the 2300 block of Rutherford Avenue, the 2400 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 3600 block of Earline Circle, the 3000 block of Washington Road, the 1900 block of Old Savannah Road, the 1100 block of 15th Street, the 1900 block of Ellis Street, the 2600 block of Thomas Lane, the 4000 block of Steiner Avenue, one on 5th Street, the 600 block of Fairhope Street, the 2400 block of Tate Road, the 2400 block of Yates Drive, the 1000 block of Megan Lane, the 2500 block of Lumpkin Road, one on Florence Street, the 4000 block of Shelby Court, the 2100 block of the Gordon Highway, one on 12th Street, the 200 block of Telfair Street, the 2000 block of Lamar Road, the 1100 block of Bennick Mill Road, the 1800 block of Killingsworth Road, the 800 block of Walden Hills Court, the 3400 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 2700 block of Rayborn Drive, the 2200 block of Nedling Drive, the 2800 block of Fleming Drive, the 2100 block of Walton Way, one on Broad Street, the 2400 block of Hardwick Road, the 2800 block of April Drive, the 500 block of Walker Street, the 700 block of Lobel Circle, the 2100 block of 2nd Avenue, the 1400 block of McCalsey Street, the 3900 block of Deansbridge Road, the 3700 block of Hickory Cove Road, the 2500 block of Milledgeville Road, the 1300 block of 10th Street, the 3100 block of Old Louisville Road, the 2500 block of Lumpkin Road, the 300 block of Carmel Place, Bobby Jones Expressway, the 2400 block of Dublin Drive, the 4100 block of Peach Orchard Road, the 2400 block of Castlewood Drive, the 2000 block of the Gordon Highway, the 2400 block of Cougar Court, the 2000 block of Old Savannah Road, the 1100 block of Turpin Street, and the 1300 block of Walton Way. We've had 39 burglaries around the CSRA. They took place at the 3600 block of North Madrid Drive, the 1700 block of S.E. McIntyre Boulevard, the 1000 block of Kent Street, 2100 block of Caneck Way, the 100 block of Blake Drive, the 200 block of East Telfair, the 2200 block of Acapulco Drive, the 1600 block of Chestnut Street, the 3000 block of Cardinal Drive, the 2100 block of Wayneck Way, the 2700 block of Wells Drive, the 3500 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 2300 block of Dublin Drive, the 2700 block of Gordon Highway, the 2500 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 3700 block of Farrington Drive, the 2400 block of Chapman Court, the 1900 block of Moore Road, the 2400 block of Patrick Avenue, the 2100 block of Circular Drive, the 2000 block of Rozier Road, the 2200 block of Central Avenue, the 2800 block of Tobacco Road, the 1200 block of Long Point Drive, the 500 block of Broad Street, the 3800 block of the Mike Paget Highway, the 2700 block of Pine Valley Road, the 1200 block of Brown Road, the 1400 block of Hephzibah McBeam Road, the 2500 block of Reese Avenue, the 2000 block of Broad Street, the 3400 block of Milledgeville Road, the 500 block of Brook Lane, the 1600 block of Jenkins Street, the 1500 block of Beaksley Street, the 3400 block of South Kensington Drive, the 1900 block of Satcher Boulevard, the 2200 block of Rozier Road, and the 400 block of Boy Scout Road. We've had 4 robberies around the CSRA. They took place on Fleming Drive, the 2200 block of Bungalow Road, 6th Street, and the 4300 block of the Mike Paget Highway. 2 cases of arson, one at the 3400 block of Jonathan Circle and the 1500 block of 4-H Club Road. 1 charge of damage to property on Windsor Springs Road. We've had 4 drug arrests around the CSRA. They took place on the 2800 block of Bethel Place, the 2500 block of Tobacco Road, the 800 block of St. Sebastian Way, and the 2100 block of the Gordon Highway. 2 reckless conduct, one on Windsor Springs Road and one on the 3200 block of Plague Court. If you know anything about these crimes or any other crimes, call our toll-free tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you may remain anonymous and may get a cash reward.
Now for some dumb crook news. The picture you see on your screen is a suspected smartphone thief whose picture was taken when he tried to use a stolen Samsung smartphone that the owner had reported stolen. On 9/24 at 1848 hours, the suspect's photograph was taken by a Samsung cellular phone that had been reported stolen by a victim. What you see on your screen is the actual picture the smartphone took of this dumb crook as soon as he tried to use the stolen phone. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is asking the public's assistance in identifying the person in this photo. Anyone with information is asked to notify Sergeant Michael Shane McDaniel or any other investigator at the Richmond County Sheriff's Office at 706-821-1080 or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous, catch dumb crooks, and get paid. This Augusta Metro Federal Credit Union bank robbery suspect has been identified. Richmond County investigators have identified Brendan Allen Gray, Jr., a biracial male whose photo is attached, as the suspect in the armed bank robbery at the Augusta Metro Federal Credit Union. Gray is currently wanted for armed robbery and possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. Gray is out on bond from a previous armed robbery, you cannot make this stuff up, in January of 2013 at GNC on Bobby Jones Expressway. Investigators are seeking assistance from the public in locating Gray. Gray is known to drive a 2007 Ford Mustang gray in color, bearing Georgia tag BYL6832. Gray has ties to the Warner Robins area and also the Tennessee area. Gray is considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with knowledge on the whereabouts of Gray is asked to call Lieutenant Jimmy Young or any other investigator in the Richmond County Sheriff's Office at 706-821-1080 or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tips to tips at AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and get paid.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Obamacare fines to be seized from bank accounts. A man who attempted to sign up claims he was threatened with driver's license being revoked and a federal tax lien on his home. The Crime Stoppers at Infowars.com report a man who attempted to sign up for the Obamacare online was told that a fine of over $4,000 a year for refusing to take out mandatory health insurance could be taken directly from his bank account, and that his driver's license would be suspended and a federal tax lien placed against his home, according to an entry on the healthcare.gov Facebook page. If true, the implementation of Obamacare is going to be a whole lot more draconian than Americans have been led to believe. Will Sheehan claims that when he tried to sign up for Obamacare and then register to opt out, he received an ominous warning. Sheehan's full Facebook post reads, "I actually made it through this morning at 8 a.m. I have a pre-existing condition, type 1 diabetes, and my income base was $45,000 to $55,000 annually. I chose Tier 2 Silver Plan, and my monthly premiums came out to $597 with a $13,988 deductible. There is no possible way that I can afford this, so I opt out and choose to continue with no insurance. I received an email tonight at 5 p.m. informing me that my fine would be $4,037 and could be attached to my yearly income tax return. Then you make it to the repercussions portion for non-payment of yearly fine. First, your driver's license will be suspended until paid. And if you go 24 consecutive months with non-payment and you happen to be a homeowner, you will have a federal tax lien placed on your home. You can agree to give your bank information so they can easily, automatically withdraw your penalties weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. This is by no means free or even affordable." Sheehan went on to point out that the site makes you input all your personal information before giving you an indication of the cost, meaning a database of the uninsured is being built. He added that he could not afford to pay the premium, so he would have to break the law and pay the fine, leaving him with no health care coverage. The federal government has consistently denied that any fines pertaining to Obamacare noncompliance could be seized from bank accounts, despite reports last year that the IRS had hired 16,500 new agents to harass and threaten citizens who attempt to evade the new Obamacare. There's no criminal sanctions for not paying this, and there's no ability to levy a bank account or do seizures, then IRS Commissioner Douglas Schulman said in April 2010. But remember all the lies we've caught every single one of the Obama nation in? Section 1501G2 of the Affordable Care Act also states the IRS cannot file notice of lien with respect to any property of a taxpayer by reason of any failure to pay the penalty imposed by that section. So do politicians lie or not? Well, the proof that they do lie and break their own laws is clearly seen when your Second Amendment says, "Your right to bear arms shall not be infringed." Does the government infringe your right to defend yourself? Of course they do. So we know that the Obama nation is not obeying the law, the Constitution, or your Bill of Rights, which are the law of our land. Look at all the accusations of massive voter fraud that launched Obama into the White House in the first place. Or any of the millions of voter frauds who have been accused of voting 10 times each, or the Black Panthers who threatened people at the polls prosecuted? No, not one. So according to the Obama nation, obeying the law is your job, not theirs. Columbia County Police are looking for the car you see on your screen because it is suspected of being used in the latest Columbia County robbery where a soldier was beaten, bitten, clawed, and robbed on Bel Air Road in Evans Friday, September 27th at 3:44. Mr. McManus stated he was attacked by two unknown black males while walking home from Applebee's on Bel Air Road near the entrance of Walden Glen Apartments. Mr. McManus stated an unknown white passenger car pulled off Bel Air Road and two black males exited the passenger side of the vehicle and began striking, biting, and clawing Mr. McManus with their hands, teeth, and fists. Mr. McManus stated the subjects then took his wallet and removed approximately $150 to $200 and fled the scene in the vehicle. Mr. McManus stated a third black male was driving the vehicle but never saw that subject exit the vehicle. Mr. McManus returned to his apartment and notified the sheriff's office. Gold Cross EMS responded to evaluate Mr. McManus. Investigator Johnson responded to Mr. McManus's residence to speak with him about the incident. Captain Steve Morris of the Columbia County Sheriff's Office appreciates all the help you guys have been before and is asking for your help again in catching these two black male robbers who beat and robbed a Fort Gordon soldier on Bel Air Road in Evans. If you think you know who or where these two black male robbers are, please call Captain Steve Morris of the Columbia County Sheriff's Office at 706-541-4050. Or you can call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. Or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and get paid.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
This week, Sheriff Roundtree made a special appearance to share with the Richmond County Sheriff's Office Citizens Police Academy how Major Scott Peoples and other deputies driving the new Chargers were the only ones able to catch up to bank robbers running from a bank job at Regions Bank in North Augusta. Also later, while discussing new equipment of vendors trying to sell the Sheriff's Department, we discovered it may not print out what dispatch is saying so the officer can see and hear what dispatch is saying, and leaves a written record so officers can have it for reports and court. We'll let you follow the events that unfolded in this bank robbery by reading an email describing the two-state high-speed chase sent to Crime Stoppers by Lieutenant Tim Thornton of the North Augusta Department of Public Safety. Here's how Lieutenant Tim Thornton of the North Augusta Department of Public Safety described Tuesday's events that unfolded in this bank robbery in his email describing the two-state high-speed chase sent to Crime Stoppers. Around 12:37 p.m. today, a black male walked into the Regions Bank on West Avenue in North Augusta and presented a note to a teller stating he had a gun and wanted all the money in the drawer. The teller did as she was instructed, and the robber turned and walked out as inconspicuously as he entered. Bank employees watched him get into a silver Dodge Nitro headed north on West Augusta. Officers responding to the call observed a vehicle matching the description in the downtown area and attempted to stop it. The vehicle accelerated and failed to stop. Public Safety pursued the vehicle across the 13th Street Bridge into Augusta, where Georgia law enforcement resumed the pursuit. The suspect vehicle eventually made a left turn headed back into South Carolina across the 5th Street Bridge. North Augusta Public Safety once again engaged in the pursuit along with the Aiken County Sheriff's Office, the South Carolina Highway Patrol, and Richmond County Sheriff's deputies. The suspect vehicle was pursued onto Highway 421 and soon ended at the intersection of St. John's Road and Legion Road in Warrenville. During the chase, money believed to be from the bank was thrown out of the speeding car. The suspect vehicle was occupied by two black males identified as the driver, 22-year-old George D. Oakman III from Warrenville, and 26-year-old bank robber David L. Cassell from Aiken. Both of them were arrested on the spot and transported back to Public Safety Headquarters for further interrogation. Both will be charged with bank robbery, and the driver of the getaway car, Oatman, faces a failure to stop for blue lights and siren as well. No one in the bank was injured during the robbery. The teller, obviously shaken by the event, was consoled by fellow employees of the bank. Thanks, Tim Thornton, Lieutenant, Office of Professional Standards.
And now, this Crime Reports and Rewards special report.
Crime Reports and Rewards had the pleasure of being called by Commissioner Jerry Brigham just as we were writing a segment on Social Security numbers being used for ID theft, and why you shouldn't give the last four of your Social Security number to anybody, especially any large private or government entity. Amazingly, the last four numbers of your Social Security number that everybody asks you for are really all the numbers the ID thieves need, because the other numbers simply stand for where you were born and things that they already know. Here's what the Social Security Administration says about using your Social Security number as an ID. Identity theft is one of the fastest growing crimes in American society. The routine and often indiscriminate use of Social Security numbers as identifiers creates opportunities for individuals to inappropriately obtain personal information. Repetitive use and disclosure of Social Security numbers in organizational record-keeping systems multiplies the susceptibility of persons to potential identity theft. Through misuse of Social Security numbers, individuals are subject to the danger of identity theft and its repercussions. Access to an individual's Social Security number can enable an identity thief to obtain information that can result in significant financial difficulties for the victim. While this can be disruptive for the individual, it can also lead to civil liability for the organization and its individual employees if someone is harmed by the information that has been made available to others. Alternate identifiers, not necessarily a foreign concept. An organization's collection and use in Social Security numbers can increase the risk of identity theft and fraud. Each time an individual divulges his or her Social Security number, the potential for a thief to illegitimately gain access to bank accounts, credit cards, driving records, tax and employment histories, and other private information increases. Because many organizations still use Social Security numbers as the primary identifier, exposure to identity theft and fraud exploded. We strongly urge all organizations that use Social Security numbers as the identifier in their record-keeping systems to use alternate identifiers. In recent years, a number of nationally known professional businesses and schools have moved from a Social Security number-based identification system to an alternate employee-student identifier. In fact, in our region, which includes Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, Delaware, and the District of Columbia, many places have found the cost of this conversion to be reasonable. Some have also stated that the increased peace of mind for all concerned has made any cost worthwhile. A good example for using an alternate identification number relates to foreign-born students. Foreign students who do not have jobs or valid job offers are no longer eligible for Social Security numbers under SSA regulation changes published in September 2004. Various educational institution record systems had to be changed to handle these students under alternate ID numbers. The Social Security Administration wants companies and governments too big to care to listen very carefully to their best practices. Assign another primary identifier. Organizations should avoid using Social Security numbers as identifiers for any type of transaction. The Social Security number should only remain in a database as a secondary identifier. Organizations should exercise limited use of an individual's Social Security number. For example, when it's necessary for a school to verify students' identities when processing financial aid applications, use of an alternate identifier other than the Social Security number can reduce the risk of unauthorized disclosure of Social Security numbers. Inform your members. When identity data is required by your organization, you should provide the option of using another number as a personal identifier and address the importance of privacy of individual records. This topic should be discussed on organizational websites that are accessible to all members. Organizations that require identity information can also place a statement on the data request form regarding the state's Public Information Act. There are notably more articles and publications outlining the concerns and possible solutions to identity theft. Take action before something happens to inform your clients about alternate identifier systems. Data encryption. Organizations that maintain Social Security numbers in their system of records should consider encryption of this data. Encryption data is a good way to protect sensitive information. The federal government has required encryption of sensitive data stored on its laptops since the 2006 theft of computer equipment that contained data on 26.5 million veterans. You can take action to decrease the risk of improper Social Security number disclosure by staff and employees. Require that personnel handling documents containing confidential information sign a disclosure statement. For example, some educational institutions include references to the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, and the fact that the handler of such documents may be subject to criminal prosecution and civil penalties, as well as disciplinary action by their employer if they allow confidential information to be disclosed. Establish staff responsibility. Some organizations have taken the step of creating a Chief Privacy Officer position for oversight of all issues involving record security, including protection of Social Security numbers maintained in the organization's files. Comply with state regulations or go to jail. If you're working for a company that's too big to care or a government that just doesn't care, many states have enacted laws that place certain restrictions on the use of Social Security numbers. Check with your state to see what's required before they haul you to jail. Here are some practices to avoid. Never list a Social Security number when posting a paper record, such as on a public bulletin board. Duh! Never send Social Security numbers via an electronic format like email. Duh-ho! Never have a computer login system where the person has to use their Social Security number. Duh! Never use Social Security numbers on ID cards. Never use Social Security numbers on postcards, for God help us all. Never store Social Security numbers on unprotected computer systems like all government employees do. Never carry a Social Security number card on your person. Resources. Preventing identity theft and effectively responding. The issue of improper or unnecessary use of Social Security numbers is still high on the public's radar. The Office of the Inspector General returned to this issue in a 2011 field hearing concerning use and protection of Social Security numbers and child identity theft, and has audited use and protection of Social Security numbers by hospitals, schools, and prisons, not to mention the Social Security Administration itself. There are currently several bills pending in Congress on the general issue of use of Social Security numbers as identifiers, which probably will outlaw anybody, even if they're too big to care, to use your Social Security number as an identifier. In the future, if even one of these bills pass, companies that are too big to care may go to jail for using your Social Security number as an identifier.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.